Last week on Elevating Men.
Something I brag about this podcast is that this podcast is about male accountability. I just told a woman this earlier. It doesn't matter if that woman didn't treat you right. Man, what are you going to do to fix yourself? Doesn't matter if your parents didn't give you all the tools. I'm 40 years old now. It's on me. So we go through some of these relationships and that woman builds you up, and then you start looking across the street like, man, Keisha's still looking good, man. I didn't have a car to holler at her last time. Let me spin the block. And so a lot of times these men are not settling, especially with today's culture, with the internet making the world smaller. A lot of times it's harder. I say this, and
once we get to a point, it is absolutely okay and probably important and necessary to settle. Because if we don't eventually settle into a relationship, then we're just going to continue chasing while we burn bridges and we destroy other people along our path.
So it does not matter. It does not matter about the woman and what she's not bringing to the table. It does not matter how many kids she got. It does not matter all of that stuff that she's going to bring, her drama. If he does not know himself, then he is not going to vet her properly before he jumps between her legs open very easily. That is on him, not her. It is all on him.
Mm-hmm.
She is always the second cause in every relationship. He is the first cause. And if he does not know his cause, if he does not know his purpose, he gets what he gets.
All right. Listen. If you have missed the last series with Elevated Men, you missed some good stuff. We talked about settling. Is it good? Is it bad? Should you do it? Should you not? We're moving on to a new segment. So if you want to catch up on that one, which that's where those clips came from, you can go to our YouTube channel at Elevating Men. Today, we're breaking open a new conversation. We've got a series where we're going to be talking about the emotions between men and women. Who's more emotional? Who can handle adversity better? All of those things. So this was sparked by a couple different things. One, we had a group therapy session a couple months back with Travis Bryant from Interpersonal and Touch KC. Definitely want to go follow him. He's very close with Elevating Men, and he's also working with us on something that is going to change the game. It's our Mancology, Managing Masculinity course. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss information on that. It is going to be transformational. In addition to that, I'm always having conversation with my brother AB. We're talking about men and women and emotions, and so it's just this like recurring theme. I just read a book called Love and Respect. It has some of that in there. And then about a week ago, I'm sitting with my brother Coach G. We're having a conversation that's very transparent, but you can't get all the details because we don't even do that. But what I will say is we talked about when men get into a relationship and we finally feel at home, we finally feel at peace. A lot of times the emotions start to flow. Right. And it seems like women kind of handle that a little bit better. And so that's what we're talking about today. Do men or women handle their emotions better in different situations? Before we get started, I'm going to introduce my fellows real quick. You already know L. Beasley, LaRon Barnes, the Minister Barnes, the Minister of Motivation and everything else. How you doing, bro?
Man, I am feeling amazingly well. I'm just so glad to be back in the presence of greatness. You hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Also, make sure that you tune in on Sunday mornings from 9 a.m. to 9:30 for Motivational Moments with LeBron and myself. Below me, we got Big Unc. He been recurring. I see you got the fur on this week, man. It's a little chilly outside, but you prepared, huh?
Oh, yeah, I just got this.
Yes. And then in the bottom corner, we got Coach G with the big laugh, the big smile. How you doing?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'm glad I'm with my brothers again.
That's it. Another quick announcement. If you miss our shows on Monday night because you're working, because you're doing something else, we get it. But now on Saturdays at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, you can catch us on Roku as well as Amazon. Just search Pod TV. You saw the logo at the beginning. It's just another outlet for you to catch up with Elevating Men. But let's get into the show. So if you're watching right now, go ahead and share this with your people. We're about to really open a can of worms, and we don't want you to miss a thing. It's going to be a great conversation. Also, I want you to be interactive, so don't be scared of the comments. All you got to do is use your fingers and type in your responses, but I want to know something, so we're about to get this started. Fellas, Who's more emotional, men or women? Who wants to go first? Come on, look, they scared of the questions. Y'all can't be scared.
No,
They scared. Somebody drop something in the comment. Who is it? Who is it?
I'll say men.
All right. Give me a little context. Why is that?
Well, I feel like we feel emotions deeper. I think that it's a misconception that women are more emotional. Men hide their emotions. We're taught to suppress our emotions. And I think a man, it just builds up and it builds up. And there's such an intensity. I think everyone says that the man is the stronger vessel. But I think when it comes to emotions, we're the weaker vessel because, we've had to suppress that. And when it comes out, it comes out. The only acceptable emotion in most cases is anger. That's what you see in men. But we carry so much more. We have a vast amount of emotions within us that we're never able to display because of societal norms.
I feel you. And you aren't the only one that thinks that. We got Keith Cooper. Check him out, man. This brother is multi-talented. He does so many things. Follow Keith Cooper on social media. He said men are more emotional, but we suppress it. I agree with that. He threw the 100 emoji up, so you said something that he liked. And then we got Wish Maria. She said women. So we got a little dissent. Wish Maria, if you could just drop us a little comment, give us some context on why you feel that way. Big Hunk, it's on you. Who's more emotional, men or women?
I believe it's equal. It's just more. It's more socially acceptable for women to express the emotions that they feel, but men are just as emotional as women are. We just don't have as many safe places to be able to express the emotions that we do encounter and feel.
Come on, Big. Come on, Big.
Come on. And listen, this conversation was so good that almost everybody from Elevated Men wanted to be on the podcast. So backstage, we got AB, we got Mike P. Mike, I see you right there. Don't go nowhere. I'm gonna pop you in for a comment here in a minute. I think he even cracked a smile, y'all. Y'all can't see it, but I can. Lauren Jones, Vice President of Elevated Men, that's my boy. He said, why do we need a safe space? We're gonna come back to that one. LBZ, who's more emotional, men or women? Talk about it.
I agree with Big Unk. I believe it's equal. Honestly, it's not really about who's more emotional because both of us are human. Humans are emotional. So it's not so much about who's emotional. I agree with Big Unk said. It's more about what's socially accepted. And when it's about being what's socially accepted, then we get to point the finger. Oh, they're more emotional, or no, they're more emotional. But like you said, it's really an even field. Now, when it comes to leading, that's different. But we'll talk about that later.
Now, are there certain emotions that are more accepted, though? Because emotions are on a spectrum. Like, emotion isn't one thing. There's anger, there's happiness, there's sadness, there's fear. There's a whole bunch of different emotions. And so let's just go with anger.
I'll say, even dealing with that, do men just have anger, or do women just have anger? We all have the same emotion. Every last one of us have the same emotion. Again, it comes back to what's socially acceptable. That really is the truth. If it's not acceptable to society, then it's a problem. At the end of the day. And so now we get to say, you know what? It's subjective to who's weighing that, to who's judging that. So honestly, it's really both of us. What's socially accepted? What's culturally accepted?
What's socially and culturally accepted? So, Big Unk.
If I could touch that last piece of what you said, was culturally accepted, tying that in with why do men have to have a safe place from Lauren? Well, we got terms like get out your feelings. Why do I have to get out my feelings? I said on one of the shows before, what happens at home stays at home. So you're trained to do that from a child. And that young man realizes later that home is his heart. And what happens in his heart, he has to keep in his heart. But culturally, it's more about reaction and the fact that back in the day, concerning anger, staying with the question, back in the day, men took so much before they actually reacted to the anger that they had been feeling. But nowadays, girl, you better be careful. These niggas out here keying cars, going through your phone, calling your mama, telling your mama how you cheated on him. Yeah, it's a whole. Matter of fact, these men nowadays, when they get upset, they sound like women when they talk. These younger men, they start clapping hands and everything. Oh, I know you didn't. Oh, really? Cuz. Like, bro, you sound like a whole female right now, and I'm confused.
That blows.
Oh,
Are
my.
you upset or are you having an identity crisis?
That blows.
Hold on, man. Let's get one more opinion from Elevated Man. We got Mike P in the building. Mike P, let us know what you think, my brother. What you think, man? Who's more emotional? What's going on?
Let me break this down to you. In the Bible, Jesus had two emotions. He wept when Lazarus died. He got angry when he went into the temple, and he tore it down because they were not doing what now they were supposed to do based upon his will. What this whole point of emotion breaks down a humility that man don't want women to see. Because of his testosterone, because of his masculinity, he wants to stay strong. What he does, he cries by himself. But if he cries in front of her, showing his emotion, two things happen. He will exacerbate to a different level. Now here comes violence, or he will show a weakness now that she has more strength than he. What Jesus did is,
What, Mike, wait. You just said some stuff. Wait, because I know you'll go. You'll get in that Corvette and be up I-70, bro. We got to stay right there. You said something. You just said that men want to hide our emotions from women because basically once the floodgates open, they open. And either we're going to be judged as being weak, we're going to be judged as being angry, and a whole host of other things. And so for any women that are in the comment section, is that correct? When you see a man open up, the floodgates open, he's crying, he's emotional, whatever it is, anger, sadness, frustration, whatever it is, do you begin to view that man differently in any type of way? Please drop that in the comments. There's a couple other people I want to touch on right here. Mike Jump, he said it's the same emotion, but what it's about is socially and culturally acceptable. Everybody seems to be in agreement on that. If we got any dissent, if anybody thinks anything different, drop it in the comment section. Malik, good vibes, always bringing the good vibes. What's going on, great people? We appreciate you, my brother. Lauren Jones, he says, saying get out of your feelings is when we can't articulate our feelings. That's one of the major issues. Absolutely. With Maria, she came back. Men are more logical, straight to the point. Women are naturally the weaker vessel, and our hormones fluctuate more. Wait a minute. Maria, hold up. Wait. Men are more logical. Do we believe that automatically? I mean, just general consensus. You could just... Okay, Mike's shaking his head. No.
Used to be.
Everybody saying no. Used to be. So men are not more logical. One sec, Mike. One sec. We got to get the consensus. So men are not more logical. If you all agree, drop that in the chat section. Keith Cooper, he said no. Men are not more logical. So we have a woman that says we are. We got men saying we aren't. Who wants to go first? All right, Mike head is up first. Let me get him. Let me get Mike. Okay, let's go.
what happened is that men aren't as sensitive. Women are sensitive because there's certain things about them that has a sensitivity of a female attribute that a man does. Man has a point of masculinity. And when man shows his masculinity, he shows power. He becomes at times very misogynistic, thinking that that woman is always below him because that's what he was taught. Our society teaches that. Our music teaches that. The songs that we now listen to teaches that. So we now are a product of our own environment.
Big Unk. Let me cue you up real quick. What was your thought?
So I'm still gonna stand on that. It's not what it used to be. The reason why all the men on the panel are saying that men are no longer logical because we're men that came from a different era, a different time point. And so we're looking back at what we were taught and what we experienced and what we saw. And now we're looking at these new men that's coming into play. And we're like, these little niggas ain't men. It used to be either you was a man or you wasn't. It wasn't no constellation prize. Wasn't no, well, you know, you got the alpha male, the beta male, the sigma male. Yo, bro, either you standing on business or you not. Either you can manage your emotions or you can't. It used to be if a man couldn't manage his emotions, he was considered weak. Manage the emotions. But most young men don't manage them now.
Explain that, because that can mean a whole different things to a whole lot of different people. What does it look like to manage your emotions?
For me, what helped was the 24-hour rule. If it's going to be a problem in 24 hours, I can wait 24 hours to talk about it. And within that time, I'm articulating myself. I'm reanalyzing the actual situation that happened, seeing if it's even worth addressing. If it's not going to be a problem in 24 hours, as a man, why are you even wasting time feeding into this thing? Why are you not moving to another area that you can be productive in? But a lot of these little niggas now, like they'll come in the home and say, call me daddy, but you've done nothing to produce who you really are. And so they try to steal the mantle of being the man, and they produce nothing. And so emotionally, they'll be all over the place because they're trying to prove something that they're not.
1 sec, Mike P. 1 sec. Real quick, we're going to drop AB in for just a second. He was on YouTube and he said men think, in all caps, that they are more logical. AB, tell us what you mean by that.
Dang. All right. So yeah, we think a lot. And I'm generalizing. And the only reason I say we think a lot is because that's all we've done. Many men who have time to think a lot have not built a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And because he has not built a lot, his frustrations are building up. And because his frustrations are building up and not coming out, he needs a safe place. He can't express himself. He's frowning. He's quiet. He's always silent. He's always trying to figure out how to get out of this. And that makes him emotional because he does not really understand what to do. He thinks he understands, but when he looks at what he's not done and what's in his mind, they don't meet.
Anybody? Coach G.
I love that. But to add to what he just said and what Big Unc said earlier, Mikey Junk's comment, men can't say what they feel, and if they do, it's used against them. I think men are silent. We are thinkers. We're logical, and we think a lot, and we hold it all in. And one of the reasons that we hold it in is because we know if we spit that out later in conversation, number one, it shows that we're vulnerable, which we think in a relationship is a good thing, but then that's used against us. That information is used against us, and it's used to emasculate us. So I think a lot of men are just quiet. They just take it.
Let's talk about that. That's important because here at Elevating Men, we're all about men's mental health. And so we know that men need an opportunity to vent. We need to release. We know that we have all these things built up inside of us. My question for the men on the panel, anybody can take this, but I need you to stay on this question. Have you ever confided in a woman when it comes to your emotions and your feelings and you feel like she used it against you? Share, just an example so that the audience can understand what we mean when we say that. Who wants to be transparent for a moment? Big Unc don't mind being that's why I love you, man. Come on, let's go. What you got to say?
I told a woman about a time as a child that I was molested by another man. Everything was cool until she wasn't happy in the relationship. Then it started being questions of my sexuality, and it wasn't. And the two things would never add up, but it was an easy way for her to attack to make me take a step back. So yeah, it's happened. There's been that. There's been time like. I'm 41 years old. It's been several times. I can recall several different times that's happened, but most of all with my mother. I would open up or in the middle of her getting on me about, say, turning a homework assignment in late. Then all of a sudden she wants to come back to, and you want a girlfriend, but this, that, and the other. And I'm like, but Ma, I was confiding in you about I want a wife and I hope I can be a husband and I hope I can do this, that, and the other because I don't want to make the mistakes I seen my dad do. But now we're talking about turning homework in late and you throwing in my face I'm not ready to be in a relationship. And so it trained me to think that was acceptable.
Listen, first off, sorry for the experience that you had. Absolutely.
Oh, man, I'm over that. I express it openly because there's other men that have been through it. There's no battered men shelters. There's not a hotline for a man that's been molested. If a man is molested, the first thing they ask is, why didn't you protect yourself?
Come on now.
So
Let's go.
by me being transparent, it opens the door for someone else to realize, one, they're not alone, and two, that there's somebody that they can talk to, even if it's not me.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Transparency moment out there.
Yes, please. And then Mike P, AB, I know y'all are the extra guests today. I'm gonna drop y'all off. Don't go anywhere. Stay backstage. I'm just gonna have you all dropped off just for the look of the screen for a moment. 1 second here. Coach G, it's on you.
Well, I love Big Unc's point, because there's so many men who have been in that situation, and it's not recognized. But my point is the flip side of that, finance. And I remember a relationship I was in after divorce. And in my divorce, I lost everything, gave away the farm. So no money, businesses were now gone, looking for a job. You know, I had nothing. Get in a relationship and being transparent, I shared all that. I wanted her to know up front, I have nothing to offer you but me. Nothing to offer you but me. And if that's not good enough, it is what it is. You know, I've been in situations where the woman was like, you are everything. You know, you are the prize. But this particular situation, she said she understood. I felt like at the time she understood. But then I found out later, all the things that I had shared, she basically shared to another woman. And then later down the road, that woman shared back to me the things that my girl, that I had told her, that I had shared. So she completely emasculated me in front of this other woman and talked behind my back this whole time. I thought she was in my corner, you know, my ride or die. The whole time she was conspiring against me and saw me as weak and broken, which makes me value the space that I'm in today. And then you know, sometimes, man, we got to go through those bad situations so that we can value the good situation. So before, that was a point of pain and sorrow, but now I see that as an experience that I had to go through so that I could understand and value the woman that I have now.
Love it. Anybody else want to share? LBZ, any moment that you would like to share, or has it been all good and smooth sailing for Minister Laurent?
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. I can't really honestly think of a moment where I was so transparent that it backfired on me and was used against me, from the point where it was like, dang, that really devastated me. Been, for the most part, transparent. I just more so been awkward. You know what I mean? So in my younger days, it was like, okay, this dude's weird. So I've always kind of had that seclusion, and then I also haven't really been in a lot of relationships either, if I'm honest. So I really haven't had a moment to where someone could really just destroy me. I was always nervous and shy. So I'm just being honest. I haven't really had a moment that really hit me like that. Now in marriage, obviously you get fussing, but there's nothing ever. I'm telling somebody else about this. We deal with that in home. It's never any kind of issue like that. Obviously, when you are married, you should keep that in home. So I've never had a moment where it's like, oh my goodness, I'm exposed. Even in our marriage, my wife doesn't tell anything to her parents about our marriage. We don't do that. When we have issues, we have conversations. This is our conversation because this is a safe place. I understand that once we lose that trust of something being a safe place, it's extremely hard to get it back. So I'm just grateful I haven't been through that, to be honest with you.
I'm happy for you because I've been through it. I've been through it over finances, kids, depression, everything, right? And so, you know, at one point I was very open, became a very closed person. I'm beginning to open back up again. But man, it's a real thing. And that goes to our next comment, Niecy Houston. She said I was in a relationship with the narcissist. Everything I shared was thrown back in my face. So I learned that STFU. I think y'all know what that means. If you don't ask your teenage kids, it goes both ways sometimes. So let's talk about that for a minute. As men, do we do the same thing to women? Do women tell us things and then we throw it back in their face? While you're thinking about it, I'll give a couple examples. A woman tells you about her past sexual relationships, right? And then the minute she does something that makes you suspicious, now you're bringing up everything that you know she did in the past, right? Sure. What's another one? She says she has male friends. You know, I've got these men I grew up with. We cool. This and that. You're okay with it then until you get triggered. Now all of a sudden, I think you a hoe. I ain't too sure about you, right? So, do these things happen in reverse? Who wants to take that?
So one, I will just going straight through her comment. Please keep it up. We're allowing social media to define what a lot of these words mean, but we're not actually taking the time out to say, is this person really narcissist, or are they just arrogant, or are they just an asshole? An asshole is not necessarily a narcissist. Going on down the line, it was thrown back in my face, so I learned to shut the fuck up. So what I have realized, because it happened to me in that moment, and it happened so fast, because we have a natural fight or flight. In that moment, you have a split second to make a choice to either communicate, which is to articulate, and it better be a good defense, or to turn tail and run. And if you turn tail and run, it's not just from that person, it's from the world. And you shut down and you shut out and you say, I will never let anyone be able to counter me this way again. And you carry that from one relationship to another relationship to another relationship. And what happens then is your past dictates your future.
All too often. Coach G, what was that?
Being a man, to his point.
So true. There's a couple people I want to shout out. So there's a couple people I want to shout out in the comments real quick. They coming through. Samaria Hall, she's watching us. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening to you, Ms. Hall. We thank you for being here. We got Melvin Lamont Brown. That's one of our big supporters. Supports everything in the city, all things good. Auntie Nisi Houston. She said those are attacks from an immature woman. That's sad, and I'm sorry. Don't believe those lies. Let's see who else we got. Miss Wish Maria, thank you for all your comments. We appreciate you being interactive with us. That's good that you recognize that, because that's the root your mom. That's the root of your mom. So proud of you for that. I believe she was talking to you, Big Unk. Sheila Johnson, check her out. Listen, check her out. Gangster Goodies Kitchen. She has good conversations while she's making good food, hooking you up with the recipes. Follow Sheila Johnson. No, we're not related, but I call her my auntie. Different family tree. And let's see, we got Janice Hornsey Broom. Miss Janice in the building. I agree with Mike P. Men were taught to be masculine and hold their true emotions because it's looked at as weakness. That's what we talk about here at Elevating Men. All right, so we got a question from the audience. Mike Junk, this is a deep one. I'm in a relationship right now that I have talks with my significant other that I realize that I am that. I pay for everything. 2 days ago, we had a conversation about how I no longer will be disrespected by her or her children. This is my room. No, I pay for all of this. I allow you to have this room. Am I wrong? So he's asking if he's wrong for his stance. Let me pull one of the fellas from the back. Who's going to take this? Let me see. Lojo, what you think on that, bro? What do you think?
Nah, I don't think he's wrong. I think that he has to stand his ground. You know, one of the key points in a relationship is respect. And if you're not being respected, you will eventually become a pushover. And so you definitely have to earn that respect. You can demand it, but you know you have to earn it as well. And if you put yourself in position to earn that respect, and you're constantly being disrespected, then yes, absolutely, you know, you do have to kind of take some of that control back. You know, if it's, you know, one of the shittiest things is the people that are closest to us hurt us the most. That's just the truth, you know. And I think that you have to go into almost every relationship with that understanding, is that, you know, the human factor is going to kick in, and when we fighting, you know, some stuff is going to come out. And you know, it's as shitty as it sounds, you have to go back and you have to evaluate that person, and hopefully you have enough skin in the game with that person to know if that was just a lash or if that was, something different. And knowing your relationship well enough will help you identify that.
Hey, love it, love it. Appreciate the advice, man. That's a wise man right there, and he knows what he is talking about. So thank you, Lojo. And so let me put the comment back up here. Again, I'm in a relationship right now. I have to talk to my significant other. That I am that. I pay for everything. 2 days ago, we had a conversation about how I no longer will be disrespected by her or her children. This is my room, for example. No, I pay for all of this. I allow you to have this room. Am I wrong for that thought? Big Unc, I see your hand up. What you think?
To agree with Lauren is still to disagree with this man. For the fact that you had to actually speak these words, you're not standing up for yourself. The fact that you're having the conversation and say, you have to respect me, is not respect. It's already time to leave. You have stayed past your expiration date.
Mm-hmm.
As a man, we shouldn't have to do those things.
All right, LeRon.
The first question I was going to ask was, are you married? That's the very first thing I was going to ask.
Keep it holy.
No, look, we're going to keep it right.
Keeping it
You
real.
feel what I'm saying? The reason why we got a lot of problems right now is because we ain't married.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of different other drama that we shouldn't have. We stand with people we shouldn't be staying with. Let's just keep it real. If we're going to keep it real, we wouldn't even have certain drama. But we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. Don't get me started. But just for help purposes, for relational purposes, understanding it from that perspective. I don't care if you're married or not. There always has to be boundaries. You have to set boundaries, what you're willing to take and what you're not willing to take. If you're not willing to take disrespect, don't take disrespect. But there's a way that you earn respect in a certain way as well. And a lot of times, the way to earn respect is deal with ourselves first. But we're not a coaching session. That'll be for later.
Hey, so, but if you need a coaching session, go to LeronDBarnes.com.
You're funny, Andrew, bro. You're amazing, bro.
Can I ask LeRon a question?
Yes.
True.
Respect and trust. One is earned, one is given. Which would you think is earned? Which would you think is given?
Trust is known over time.
Okay.
You can't trust somebody that you don't know. Okay. Respect should be given because you're my brother. You're my sister. I love you. We should respect and honor each other.
Yeah.
But I don't know you, so I got to learn to trust you.
When you get hired, you go into that job and you give them respect immediately. They give you a key card, they tell you where you can and where you can't go. And if you don't give them respect immediately, you're fired immediately. You eventually learn to trust them where you late to work. You know you was late to work because you was fucking off. But once you and your supervisor built that relationship, you're like, look, girl, you stop lying about why you was late because the trust has been earned. Like you said, over time.
Yes, sir.
I agree with you that man needs to deal with himself first. There was not a level of respect that he gave himself, which allowed him to receive whatever treatment in order for him. And I say this a lot. I consider a man to be a weak man that tucks his teeth and bites his tongue because he's afraid it's going to mess up the pussy he's getting.
Ooh, boy, if that's the reason, I would agree with you, my brother. I would agree. LBZ, you want to come back on that?
He said something right before that. Oh man, it's cool. It come back to me. It was something.
Look, it's a lot being said real fast. It's a lot being said, but
I'm trying to catch it.
If you catch it, just raise your hand. We'll come right back to you. But this is a comment that I want us to stick with for a second, just a few minutes here. I believe men need respect, loyalty, and love in that order.
I was about to say
Specifically
in that order.
Respect,
Mhm.
loyalty, love is at the bottom of the list.
Mm-hmm.
Just finished reading the book, Love and Respect. It talked about how women want love, men want respect. Gave a bunch of different examples. It did change my position. So if you go back a couple of weeks when we were talking about settling, I said that like we want love too. And I do agree. I still believe that. But it did shift me a little more towards the middle, and that respect is important as well. And so when we talk about this whole, respect, loyalty, and love thing, AB, I know you backstage. You're somebody that I really want to hear from on this particular comment. But fellas, does anybody want to address that? Is it correct? Is the order correct? Let me know.
I wouldn't say the order is correct. I mean,
Okay.
I see where it's coming from, but honestly, love covers a great multitude of things that we would do that will harm people. In some versions of my favorite book, it says sin. Sin hurts people, whether we know it or not, whether we accept it or not, rather. And so when you have love first, it calls you to respect people. It calls you to honor people. It calls you to give to people of yourself, your time, effort, and energy. So love actually covers it all. If you love someone, are you going to disrespect them? If you love someone, right? So I would say love covers a great multitude of actions and ways that we treat people.
I love that. I love that. One second. Coach G.
I'm in agreement with that. I love that what LaRon just said. I'm in agreement with that. And I think it starts with yourself. I think, and I got to be personal and be transparent. When I learned to love myself, then I respected myself. And as I respected myself, I became loyal to my boundaries or loyal to myself. I didn't allow to do things to me that I allowed before, because the root of that was love. And I think if LaRon, again, to your point, I mean, what is God? God is love.
Yeah.
And the core of him is love. So being a man of God, wanting to emulate that, I mean, I had to go back to, I'm just sitting here chewing on those points, but for me, the core of that is, I agree with you, brother, is love. And when I decided to love Gary, didn't matter what anybody else thought about me or felt about me. When I decided to love Gary, then I could look in the mirror and respect Gary and realize that he deserved respect. Then the other things just flowed.
That is a great point.
I remember my comment just being real short. That's actually what I was going to say. It was exactly what Gary said. Going back to the question with that gentleman, when you learn to respect yourself, you set boundaries. You're not going to allow certain things to happen. Now, there's a way that you handle it in the marriage versus that you handle it in a single relationship, meaning y'all not married, even if y'all living together. I mean, of course, but at the same time, what it really comes to is, look, I'm setting boundaries because I love me. And boundaries are not meant to be liked by others.
They're personal.
So people are going to be mad. And we have to be okay with them being mad. And a lot of times we have a problem with our significant other being mad because it gets us to thinking too much. Oh, I got anxiety. Okay, man, look, go on about your business. Relax yourself.
Right.
Let them be out there. Anyway, don't get me started. Okay, yeah.
Now, one real quick point. I love what you said, Coach G, about loving yourself. There was one thing that I didn't understand until here recently, and people said, "Well, you got to focus on loving yourself first," and it just never really clicked until recently. And I believe that when you don't learn how to love yourself before you expect someone else to love you, even if they do, you won't be able to accept it because you're wondering why me, right? You don't have that self-worth, you don't have that self-value. So it's like, okay, I don't see what this person is seeing in me. I don't see it in myself. And so I don't trust or believe anything that they're saying when it comes to them loving me. If anybody has ever felt that, drop that in the comment, because I think that I'm not the only person who has ever felt that. Coach G, you have something you want to say?
Yeah, but I got to step that back even a step further. If we're going to talk about love, before I could love myself, I had to understand how God loved me, because he is the originator of love. So when I learned, for me, I could always accept, the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. I could always accept Jesus. I could always accept Holy Spirit, but I could never accept Father when it comes to the love. And so many men have grown up in homes without a father, so they don't understand the love of the Father. I think when I fully grasped the love of the Father for me, then I could look in the mirror and love me.
Wow.
Because I'm not worth. There's nothing I could say or do. I mean, the word is clear on that. To be worthy of that love, he just gives it. And because he just gives it, now I can look in the mirror and give it to myself, and then give my own self that worthiness, that I am worth that. I am worthy of that. Now, all the other things come into play, to the point about the gentleman in that prior question. I feel like he already lost. I think Big Unc said that. The fact that he had to ask that question, he's already lost. The war is over. And in my opinion, he's at a point where he's got to end that relationship, or everything has to change full circle. And he has to rebuild. I mean, the children sound like they're because I'm assuming that comment came from one of the children. The mom co-signed to the point of the child, which shows disrespect. That whole situation is blown up. And in my opinion, it's over.
Oh my goodness. Listen, we got a ton of comments. We never want to neglect our audience because we're nothing without them. And so I just want to run through some of these because, man. So Keith Cooper, he said, we tend to expect too much, putting folks on a pedestal. Definitely agree with that. Nisi Houston, she's talking to you. Mike Junk, are those your kids? Lauren Jones said, I hope he's not married. That would be worse. Earn that respect. And if it's not reciprocated, you have to adjust, communicate those thoughts and feelings. Wish Maria, you get the opportunity to teach people how to treat you. Absolutely. But do we want to take the time to teach somebody how to treat us? Are we patient enough for that? Malik Good Vibes, respect is given and not earned. He agreed with you, LeBron. He said he was never given respect. Lauren Jones reminded us that this is a PG show. Lacey Boyd, thank you for tuning in. She said, absolutely. Malik Good Vibes, he said, I need to get a couple copies of your books. I think he's talking to you, AB. I see you backstage. I'm going to pull you in here in a second, so don't be doing nothing crazy. Nisi Houston, she said, love conquers. Yes, it does. Keith Cooper, this is important. Respect alone won't keep you fighting the outside world, but love will put that battery in your back. Bro, that's a quotable. That's a quotable. Need to put that on a poster or something. I think I want to stick on that one for a minute. I'm gonna come back to that. Malik, he also said, "Gotta love yourself before you can truly love someone else." I agree with you. Just learned that recently. Sam Blackman, thanks for tuning in. Men and women view love and respect differently. Women prioritize the need for love. Men prioritize respect. So you know why that is. That's what we're trying to figure out. So if you got an answer, drop it in the comment section and we can get to it. Tamaria Hall. Respect and trust leads to love. I agree. These three components start with self-awareness, accountability, and that setting up boundaries for interactions with others. Listen, I appreciate all of you in the comment section. Also, give us a couple likes or hearts. Let people know that, we're having a good conversation on here. Share it with your network. Ladies, share it with your girls. This is some great conversation y'all can dive into. We're about to pull in the man himself. AB, what do you think about the things that we are talking about, brother? Let us know. What's your perspective?
Oh, damn. Okay, so I wanted to ask the question, give me some examples of when women will actually use something against you and make you feel emasculated. And the reason I say that is we had a conversation at one point in time where we talked about the man is leading and he stops and the woman bumps right into him. That book, Love and Respect, also talks about, and forgive me if I'm going too fast and cut me off when I get too long, but that book, Love and Respect, talks about how men flee when there's confrontation. Women, on the other hand, they confront in order to connect. Men leave so that they will not have to connect. So when she actually is pointing out something against you because you've shared your emotions, oh, baby, I lost my job. Oh, man, they fucking with me. Oh, man. All she's saying is, I am present. The kids are present. We need you. Man the fuck up. That's all she's really saying. She's not trying to emasculate you. She's saying, okay, my mother went through it. My grandmother went through it. My grandmother went through it. Women have been going through this shit forever because you all have been leading us and fucking over us. Man the fuck up, because the family has to keep going. And if you don't, then I have to. So that's where he starts to feel emasculated, when all he has to do is just stop feeling, stop thinking that he's being logical, get his emotions out and cry like she does, and then keep it moving. Another point, Mike Junk. Yeah, we talked about this last time. You play married all the time and expect that woman in your world to give you 100% of what the king should deserve. Well, those LaRon hit it on the point, hit it on the head. That woman and those kids, they already know that you contemplate daily on whether or not you're going to jet and leave them like the other 10 dudes did. They already know, because you promised them nothing. You never set boundaries in the first place before you all even said, let's cohabitate. You never said, this is how this household is going to go. What are your, you never proposed anything and gave her a counter proposal. You said, hey, let's fuck, let's get together, and then do what I say. No, it don't work like that, because they got pain that they brought into the picture. Last thing. Oh shit, what was the last comment? What was the last question that you had asked, Andrew?
It was the love, was it? No, respect, loyalty, love, respect, loyalty, love.
Okay, all y'all brothers are talking about, love and God and all that sort of stuff. Okay, if this is how I interpret it, God is love, and God set boundaries before he created man. That was love. God also put man in the middle of his love. God gave him instruction. God is giving. That's what love is. God is pouring love into man. And he said, let me make man in my image for him to actually be me. And what is man supposed to do? He's not supposed to wait on love to be given to him, because it's already given to him from his God. He's supposed to give it. It's supposed to go out of him, through God, out of him. So if he's expecting her to give him love and God is giving him love, he's fucked up. I'm sorry. That's all.
So obviously we don't need to leave you backstage for too long, because it just builds up. And man, he came out with the Uzi. Just okay, yes sir. Big Unc, we ain't heard from you in a minute, man. What you got to say?
Oh, this is about to be good.
Love is a byproduct of the respect and the loyalty. The Bible actually says that the fear of God is the beginning of all understanding. The Bible also says, and Adam knew Eve. And so once you go into a person, once you know someone, then you can start to love them. But you can't know them, which is to understand them or to be intimate with them, until you begin to fear them, which is the respect part of it. So if love is the byproduct, we have to have everything else in line first. So it's not that I disagree with what anyone is saying, because love is important, but we forget that it's the byproduct. It's a subsidiary consequence. It's not the thing that you're going after first, just like AB just said. But we also have to remember that God is so much more than love. But then we don't want to identify all the attributes of love, because love is also correcting. Love is also stern at times. Love is also going to stand its ground. Love is also not to be trifled with. And so all those are still components of love. It might not be what you want to receive, but it's still components of love. And until we get that, until we realize that maybe you ain't worth loving just yet. And that's something else that we don't want to have to deal with. And as a man, I heard you say, hey, when you was like, I had to learn that, say I'm worth loving. I had to learn that I wasn't worth loving. And once I learned that, then I said, wow, if I'm not worth loving, like, do I respect myself? How have I really been living? And so once you start to see, the first thing you got to know when it says that Adam knew Eve about being intimate, is until a man is intimate with himself, until he fears and reverences himself, he definitely can't fear and reverence God. And he's not going to fear and reverence or that woman. And so there's not going to be love anywhere. It's all going to be transactional. It's all going to be like that man was saying, well, I'm paying this, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You think that earns you a right to dictate how they're going to live and how they're going to treat you? No, sir.
Woo! Yeah, LBZ. Talk to us.
I don't have I don't have too much to say, but I do have to say this only because just kind of back to Big Unc's comment, and I know some people talk, there's some other people who says, speaking of love not coming first, to say love is a byproduct is to say God is a byproduct. Because if God is love and God is the creator of it all, if God was never created, if everything's encapsulated in what God is and who God is, then that's the foundation of love. Love is patient, love is kind, love is long-suffering. A lot of us don't show love because we're not long-suffering. We snap at the hint of frustration. And so when we talk about love really being able to understand somebody, I don't want to quote it because I can't remember how you necessarily said it when you talked a little bit about being intimate. You're gonna probably have to come back to that because I don't remember exactly how you said that. But I will say love. Now, when we talk about love, there's phileo love, and then there's agape love. Now, a lot of times, phileo love, now we're talking about phileo love, that's different. But phileo love, we don't want to put phileo love and agape love in the same category. Because phileo love comes with how we feel. And holistically, when we talk about loving individuals, and since we're talking spiritually, if things were in order, we won't have all these problems we got right now. Trying to know somebody before you get to know who God is, know who you are, before you try to know someone else, it will always be out of order and we will always have issues.
I don't disagree with anything you just said, bro. And some of those are new realizations for me. So I appreciate you saying that. Before he spoke, AB had his hand up. So I want to go in order. What was your thought?
I just had a comment about that love thing and God pouring love. What is it that Ephesians says that man is supposed to do for his wife, to his wife? Supposed to love
him the way God loves the church.
Okay, and what is it that God says to the woman that she's supposed to do to her husband?
Respect.
Hold him in reverence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what God?
I forgot. I play the one. Don't read the Bible that much. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I believe the first marriage was between God and man, and God loved that man. He poured love into that man, and all he asked that man to do is honor him, give him glory and grace, and all these things these preachers talk about. Just honor God. Give him his reverence. That's all he's asking for. And he said, I want you to now be me and do what I do. You love her. She reveres you. Does that make sense?
So
go ahead, Big One.
So if we can, love being a byproduct, Christ was love. Christ came after, although those that truly study understand that Christ was always there, but the God of the Old Testament, as AB just was talking about, it's very clear. You must fear him. You must reverence him. Even the Bible talks about the wife respecting the husband, but the husband loving the wife as Christ loved the church. But you have to know her first. You have to learn her. You can't love something that you don't know. It's just impossible. And it's not taking anything away from God to admit that love is a byproduct. Until I get to know you, I can't truly love you. I can try to give you the love. Oh, thank you, Lord. And so, did you know that there are 13 different Greek words for the word love? And all of them are love. Erotica is love. Porn actually is a derivative of a Greek word that means love. It's different types of love. And so, yeah, you can say, well, do you have the filial? Do you have the agape love and this, that, and the other? But it still all starts with the fear and the reverence. It's impossible to love someone with that type of love without having a fear or a reverence of God. But you can't get that until you know who you are, so you know what you're putting on the altar to give God. I agree that these relationships have gotten so mixed up and entangled with what the world says that relationships are supposed to be, but we got to get back to just keeping it simple. I need to get to know you. I need to know your worth. And after I learn you, well, one, if I can't learn you if I haven't learned myself, then I can love you. Then I can pour into you, and then you can respect the way I'm loving you because I took the time to learn you. I didn't do as AB said, legs open easily. I didn't just chase, a feeling. I was actually looking to build.
Just real. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Describing was a condition. I got to get to know you first. If you don't line up to what I'm thinking about, then that's a computer program. That's a condition. And supposedly, I heard that love is unconditional. So when you say it's impossible to love somebody that you don't know, maybe we should have a discussion after this to find out exactly what can I do to love you, even though I don't know you. Because I can't love you without knowing you if I know what love is. That's the choice. And I don't need anything from you to love you.
I was going to add. I was going to add to that. I agree with you, AB. I was going to say, if you say you can't love somebody until you know them, that means you can't be patient with people. You can't be kind with people. You can't be long suffering with people. You can't show any of the attributes of God. You're right. Love is so great. That's why the Bible says that love covers a multitude of sin, because it's a multitude of things that it actually covers: patience, kindness, long suffering, and even things outside of the Bible that it didn't mention. But that, if we can show that love, I'm gonna say it like this, and this is I'm gonna end it like this: if we would align ourselves spiritually, I'll just say it like this: if we align ourselves spiritually and got connected to the Holy One, and stop trying to do everything else outside of the will of God because our flesh loves it, have sex, lie, cheat, steal.
You just hit it.
If we would stop doing that and stop playing these games, stop having sex before marriage, all of these things, we wouldn't have these doggone issues. Now we're trying to figure it out the human way. Everything else but what God say. Everything else but what God say.
So you just hit it exactly.
If we sitting here wondering why we keep having these issues now, and we have all these discussions. Love covers a multitude of sin. Love is patient, kind, long-suffering, all these other things. But we got to just sit down and say, you know what? Let's get back to the basics. Let's stop trying to have a relationship our way. And let's have a relationship Yah's way.
Come on. Listen, hold on. Always gotta give love to the comment section because they are what keeps us going. We got Nico Baker. Nico's with Lifted KC. Definitely support them. That's one of our big supporters. We support them. It's reciprocal. It's all love. We're doing the same thing. Our mission is to improve the mental health of our community. She said love is what we are called to do. To your point, LaRon. Nisi Houston, thank you so much. We are in a mess that we created. She agrees with you. Nico, love is love. Samaria Hall, love is unconditional. Well, at least that's how I resonate, as it should be. Unconditional, absolutely. Melvin Lamont Brown, short and simple: love waits, lust takes. Please know the difference. I like the way you said that. Sam Blackman, facts. That's the only way to love, unconditionally. And so I believe we're all in the same place there. We're honestly at our time, but the conversation is so good. There's one comment here that I want us to touch on before we close out. People, this is a series. We're talking about emotions between men versus women. We're not going to be able to unpack all of this in one night, but we're going to unpack one other question or comment. And this is from Sam Blackman. Thank you for tuning in, brother. He says, men flee because women communicate in a way the man shuts down because he feels disrespected, not being logically heard. The woman keeps pushing the combo in order to connect, emotionally connected. So both has to understand that the other person's perspective. It's not men need to step up. Men do need to understand her nagging is her trying to communicate from a place of love. If she comes emotionally charged, he will deem it as disrespect and shut down to avoid the fight, flight, or freeze. And so I've heard a statement before. A woman said, maybe it was a man, I don't remember, but the comment was, when a woman stops nagging, that's when you need to worry. As long as she's nagging and she's complaining and she's voicing her concerns, she cares, she respects you, she loves you, and she wants to improve the relationship. When she gets quiet, she's already done. She's already left. And so I definitely see where you're coming from. Brothers, what are your thoughts on that comment?
I was gonna say I had to learn that because being married with my wife, that's something I didn't understand. Her being frustrated with me or nagging was her actually saying, I need you. I need you to be here for me. I can't handle it all. I'm frustrated. Help me. And as men, we have to be able to catch that to soothe our women because they're the weaker vessel. And it comes with us being as a head, a lead, or discernment. What are they saying spiritually, internally, emotionally? What are they really saying outside of their words? Because some people just have a hard time communicating. They don't know how to communicate. Pray for them, but they don't know how to communicate. Be patient with them. They don't know how to communicate in that moment. And as men being the authority, we have to learn to don't be so offended. Hear it the way that it's being communicated and then respond accordingly.
Anybody else want to jump on that?
Yeah. So you have to first identify which of the 13 biblical or Greek words for love or types of love is trying to be expressed. Nagging, although is a communication, is still a negative communication. You have to identify where in love, which type of love she's standing in, where you're standing in, and find the bridge between the two. Until you're able to do that, you're not going to get to that godly love where it's like, I love past everything, I love past all things. We got to identify there's 13 different types of love. Where is she at? Why is she feeling this way? How did I contribute to her feeling that way? Having an open ear. An open ear is a selfless ear. It's not about me. It's about truly understanding you and why you're feeling the way you're feeling. And then the art of communication. And a lot of men, I love elevating men, and I say it all the time because it's about male accountability. That's what I've gotten from this since I've become part of it. So still, I would say it's not about how she feels. How did I make her feel that way? How did I contribute to that? And then once we start that, then we can start gaining ground and we can start resolving things. Other than that, it's just going to be two people throwing rocks at a wall.
Melvin, he said, I'm missing Lauren Jones. Lojo was on earlier, man. You got to watch the replay. Play it back. He was here. I think he's still in the comment section. So there's a couple ones on this comment here. Let's see, Sam Blackman, there's a difference between nagging and trying to connect emotionally. Samaria Hall, nagging can be identified as fed up, misunderstood, and depleted. I like this one right here too. Nico Baker, she says complaining is different than voicing a concern, and many times men translate anything said as a complaint or blaming, and many times women are trying to discuss and adjust for betterment of the relationship. Because again, if she's talking, if she's nagging, it's because she wants things to work. Otherwise, she will be quiet and be planning her exit. That's one thing that I've learned when it comes to these heated conversations is, and I'm talking about two people that know they love each other. That's important, right? If you both know that you love each other, you have to understand that the person who's speaking, whether it's the man or the woman, whatever they're saying and however their delivery is, even though they should be mindful of that, try to say things in the most passive way, if I can use that term. You have to know that it's coming from love. And so whatever she's saying, you have to listen to it through the filter that says she loves me. Not that she's attacking me, not that she hates me, not that, our relationship is on the rocks or something major is getting ready to happen. No, she loves me, but she's frustrated. So let me listen from that standpoint. And when he responds, as men, sometimes our voice can be a little gruff. Our facial expressions can be a little aggressive. But if the woman knows that you love her, she can look at it or listen to it through that filter that says, okay, he loves me, so let me look for the deeper meaning in all of this. LaRon, did you have something you wanted to say? I thought I saw your hand go up.
And I was looking at the comment that was said. Anything said is seen as a complaint. What did I say?
Complaining is different than voicing a concern, and many times men translate anything said as a complaint or blaming, and many times women are trying to discuss and adjust for betterment of the relationship.
I can be that honestly, that had been me. I was taking her trying to communicate with me and help the relationship as complaining because I wasn't ready to do what I needed to do. I wasn't ready to man up in certain areas in my personal life. So sometimes us as men, we got to just be honest with ourselves. You know what? She's not complaining. Take out the doggone trash. Now, I'm not saying that was my issue. I had other issues, but that's a basic issue that men be having. Do the things that you know need to be done before it's asked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm honest. I had to learn that. I had to learn it the hard way, but I learned it. So for the people hearing it, honestly, don't be so offended. Don't be so. Get on your job. Do what you know you need to do. And only try to make it seem like complaining because you don't want to do what you know you need to do. And so that's our way of getting out of it. If I'm mad. Now we arguing over something we shouldn't even be arguing over.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
First comes that gentle nudge. Then comes that gentle reminder. Then comes that hint. Then comes the ask. Then comes a request. Then comes a reminder. Then comes a stern, are you going to do it? Then comes, there's like 20 different things that she started with way up here before she has to continue. Motherfucker, when are you going to? And then he's like, well, you nagging. It's no different than, to me, it's no different than when the man comes home from work talking about how that boss made him do all this extra stuff, made him and didn't give him and didn't respect me and just call me out in front of everybody. And then ain't that the same kind of nagging instead of going and confronting the person and saying, hey, what's really going on? But no, he brings it home to her. And he usually does it in shutdown mode. And then when he's shut down, he doesn't want to hear what needs to be taking place in the place that he's building, not the place that he's living in, the place that he's building. And that's where she's reminding him, we're building this. We're not just living here.
Okay, so Sam, he's the one that sparked this, so we don't want to ignore what he has. He said that doesn't give a woman the right to keep pushing the same button. She has to also understand how to get her request met, which is usually nonverbal for men, not the constant dripping of words. Anybody want to take that? I saw you gave him the thumbs up, Drew. So since you gave the thumbs up, what's your thought?
I don't disagree with anything that Sam has said. What I interpret him saying is communication goes both ways. He needs to learn nagging language. She needs to learn a quiet language or whatever speaks to him. They need to learn each other's language. That's how I interpret him. So what he's saying, that still does not give her the right to continue speaking her language. She needs to figure out, why isn't he understanding what I'm saying? Let me learn his language. He, on the other hand, why isn't she understanding what I'm trying to convey? Let me actually learn the language and speak it.
Hey, and that part right there, the learning the language, I've been in disagreements where you can be can be male, female, whatever. It doesn't have to be a relationship. It could be a friendship. Sometimes we just interpret words differently. And so one thing that I found is a useful tool is to say, wait a minute, those words that you use before I use my definition of it, what exactly did you mean? And I'm finding more and more that I tend to have different definitions than the person that I'm talking to. And so if we're really going to communicate openly and effectively, there has to be a lot of stopping and pausing and clarification of the meaning of words because we all speak a different language.
Exactly.
I think that the key word in her statement that we're going into now was translate. And everybody's been hitting on it. The key word was translate, but I strongly believe in what God gave me, which is structure, order, and then discipline. If coming into that relationship, like I said, it's male accountability. So can't talk about her. We're talking about us. male accountability, coming into the relationship, what structure did you show her? Did you show her how to communicate with you? That's the beginning of any relationship. After the structure, order. Okay, look, I'm showing you how to communicate with me. Now I'm putting order to this. So this is now both of us doing it. And then you can show the discipline in order to execute it. But if you don't have none of that, that translation of what does she really mean? She said this, but it made me feel this way. Get accountability, structure, order, discipline. For me, I've been telling people this, and I've learned this in the last 2 years. I say, can you help me understand?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, or here's a thing. How about us men actually start saying, can you help me understand? Can you understand what I'm saying? Can you understand my structure before we stick the dick in them?
That's what I'm saying. 100%.
Nisi said you are really growing, she sees the growth. That's what it's about here at Elevating Men. Coach D, we have not heard from you for a while, and you have a wealth of knowledge and wisdom. And so what are you hearing in all of this?
Wow, that's funny that you asked me that because I'm chewing, but I hear alignment. I think there's so much that's messed up in relationships and what we're talking about today because people don't spend time aligning themselves to the right person. So we talked about communication. We talked about fighting. You know, we fight below the belt. We don't fight clean. It's okay to disagree. You know, you got two separate people coming in with different triggers and traumas and life experience, but you can still be mature enough if you're aligned to have a conversation that doesn't turn into a fight. That woman shouldn't have to nag the man over and over and over to get him to do something. That man should understand his role and responsibility, number one. Number two, the woman should understand her role and responsibility. And when she communicates to him, she's aligned to him so she knows how to communicate effectively to him. He knows how to listen effectively, actively, so he receives her information correctly. So you don't have these issues and problems if you're aligned to the right person. I just don't think we spend enough time, back to Laurent's point earlier, that we've started these relationships wrong. We've moved off the biblical alignment of the Lord and jumped into things, and then we sit back and wonder, why is stuff broken? Why is stuff messed up? Why do I feel this way? Why does that look like that? Well, we're completely out of order. We're completely behind.
Can we look at Kenny's comment?
Yeah, Kenny Pips. That's my cousin right there out in Vegas. Yeah, follow him for tips on the market. I know some of y'all probably looking at crypto and all that kind of stuff. That's his thing. And so connect with Kenny Pips. But he said, I believe in forgiveness, but I do not believe in unconditional tolerance nor access. That's deep.
That's good.
So my stance in ministry and what God has called me to is the relatable, applicable word and the reality of it. What this man is saying is the truth. Like, I agree with the Bible all day, and I like speaking from different points just to keep the conversation going. But this is what I'm talking about right here when I say that a lot of us will never get to that point of, men, love your wives as Christ has loved the church unconditionally, no matter how many times she went to something else, i.e. another man, and then had kids and came back, went to do something else, returned to her old perversions, and he still loved no matter what. A lot of us men, if we be honest, are not going to get to that point. We can strive for it, and I encourage you to, but that's a big one. And for you to sit there and say, oh, yeah, I love my wife as Christ loved the church. Oh, I'm going to love my wife when I get one. As Christ loved the church. Bro, are you for real? You walk in the door. You come home. You've done everything you can. You've communicated. You thought everything was, you know what I'm saying, on the up and up. We're working through all our problems. But it's a man going out the back door as you come in the front door. And this is the 5th time this week. And it's only Tuesday.
You know, if I find something, it's probably because I was either looking for it or it caught my eye. And if I classify it as something worth finding, it's probably because whatever caught my eye, it caught my attention, and I moved in closer and I started to examine it. Before I bring it home or bring it into me, I'm still examining it. I'm looking at it to find out what is this that I have found. I am studying it. I'm trying to find out what are the characteristics. What does this thing do? What could it do to me before I bring it home? Just because I found it does not mean that I put it in my pocket and bring it home. I find something here, I find it here, and I find it physically. I do a whole lot of study before I get in bed with it. I do a whole lot of studying before I stick my dick in it. I do a whole lot of studying before I have to have a reason to say, damn, I shouldn't have brought this home.
Can we ever truly know everything? And can people change dramatically over time where your initial research becomes unvalidated?
You know, a lot of people used to date. A lot of people used to actually meet the family to find out the actual psychological lineage, to find out who's schizo and who's not, to find out everything that they could find out before they brought it home. That's what the dating process was. Not the mating process, the dating process.
Just real quick, because he got us talking tonight. Sam Blackman, he said, I'd like to join the combo in the future, or at least talk about this on my platform. Who can I contact? Go to the Elevating Men page on Facebook, or you could drop us a inbox on YouTube. Just search Elevating Men, and we'll get back in contact with you. But we definitely want to connect. I love the value that you're bringing tonight. Back to the question that we're on. I believe in forgiveness, but I do not believe in unconditional tolerance or access. Big on.
So, man, I don't want to lose what AB was just saying. But there it is.
Basically, do your research. Do your homework first.
That goes back to what I was saying. Nobody in the Bible dated. Biblically, dating was not a thing. It was not part of our culture. It was not part of God's plan. It was not a thing for that culture and that time period. This is where you have to say, I got to be able to make the scriptures relevant and applicable for my life today, right now. And I have to have true interpretation and not just information. When I said that you have to get to know them first, that's the same thing you're talking about, that research. But the same thing that you just said, AL, what happens when the research becomes irrelevant because it's outdated? People are always going to change because they're going to grow. On another episode, I was saying that I let you in the house don't mean that I let you get all access. But that's the same thing he was just saying in the comments. We got to come back to it that the Bible is the Bible, and I love it, and it is true. But we have entered into an age where there are some things the Bible does not speak on. So you have to get revelation instead of just information.
Interesting. Listen, like I said, we ain't gonna unpack this whole suitcase tonight. We can't. It's too many things in it. It's a whole lot of luggage, whole lot of baggage. But I believe the conversation has been fruitful. There's a whole lot of things that we can take away from it. For those of you who are still watching, we appreciate you. You can always catch the replay if you came in the middle and you saw we were heated and the hands were moving and everybody was talking. All you got to do is wait a little bit after we drop off. You can rewind and go from start to finish to end. This is the first part of our series on male versus female emotions. I enjoyed it. Before we close out, fellas, do you have any last thoughts or words that you just want to leave with the audience, including how they can get in contact with you for any special projects that you may have going on? Amber Lucretia, she said, I haven't caught the live in a while. Here to support gender wars topic. Now, we were just talking about the difference in male-female emotions, and it was a good one. So go back and watch the replay. Melvin Lamont Brown, reach out to A.L. Johnson or Lauren Jones, who is over the organization. And weekly segments. That was for our brother, what was his name? Sam Blackman. Yeah, make sure you reach out to us. I definitely want to have you on. All right. I'll start with you, LBZ. What you got going on? How can people reach you? Any final words, last thoughts? You're muted.
Yes. Look, this was a great conversation, great topic. I believe there's a lot more to discuss. I can't wait for our next conversations, but I would say you can find me on Facebook at LaRon the Motivator, also on Instagram at LaRon the Motivator, or LaRon Barnes. You can look me up on there. I would say if you are an individual that, plugging myself, coaching, training, speaking, definitely connect with me. And wow, be there this Sunday for Motivational Moments.
Yes, sir. Coach G.
Hey, this is your boy, Coach G. I'm building what I call WWC, Warrior Word Consulting, which is speaking, coaching, and training. Public speaking, which I do through a couple public platforms. Training is life coaching, or coaching, I said life is life coaching. So I really want to deal with men regarding trauma. You know, I'm a man that went through recently 4 years consistently of trauma, but then that opened a lifetime of trauma that I experienced, that I was able to understand. And then just coaching men through that and walking them and teaching them and training them through that. So look for WWC. It'll be coming out before the end of the year.
Yes, sir. Big Ump.
So I am currently working on something. I've shared this with a few people. It's going to be called Beyond the Veil. It's going to be different. It will be a podcast. It will be a church service, but it will not be your normal. It will be a talk show where you will actually be able to interact, and you won't have to hope that they preach on or teach on or talk about what you're going through. You will actually be able to ask the panel so you can get some biblical directives to the situation that you're going through. So that'll be coming up soon. But other than that, I believe it was a great conversation. I believe it was a great topic, and we all did a great job at hitting this thing from all angles so that we could get a clear understanding of where we are in today's society when it comes to men and women expressing their emotions.
Yes, sir. AB.
Two things. Sam Blackman, inbox A.L. Boykin or Lauren Jones on Facebook, please, tonight. Yes. Second thing, Elevating Men has this thing called the 4 quarters of life: 0 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, and 60 and above. And what that really means is that we're trying to get men to understand what they need to learn and when they need to learn it, specifically within those age groups, within those quarters of their life. 0 to 20 actually has some responsibilities of learning things before they actually take on a family between 20 to 40. But if 0 to 20 does not have the parental structure or the village around them to help pour into what they need to learn, then these conversations will continue.
Absolutely. And I am A.L. Johnson. Listen, there's a couple things I need your help with. A couple things. So we're working on some big things with Elevating Men for 2025. If you notice here, just a couple months, we had our first town hall event. That's something that we're going to continue into 2025. The last one that we had, we were talking about mental health. We had members of government, lawmakers, we had professional therapists, we had leaders of nonprofit organizations on a panel where we really unpacked some of the issues surrounding mental health access, as well as reducing stigma and some laws that need to be changed to make it easier for people to get the services that they need. Our next one is going to be on crime prevention. We have some very, very, very important initiatives that we're going to be pushing. So we're going to be looking for your support. Stay tuned. Do not stop watching Elevating Men so you'll get all of the information for that. We're also seeking donations so that we can further our mission. You can visit our website at the bottom, elevatingmen.org. We also have our monthly breakfast where we have men get together. We've opened that up to young men from the ages of 13 and up so they can start hearing the conversations they need to be a better man than we were the first time. And so, definitely bring your boys, your nephews, the men in your life. Every month it's 100% free of charge. Be looking out for that. And then for my own personal ask, Elevating Men is something that I started in 2020 after the death of my father. We've been at this for quite a while, but it is not the way that I take care of my children. It is not the way that I pay my bills. I do that through my life insurance agency, A.L. Johnson Life Insurance. And so if you or anyone that you know is in need of life insurance, if you have a policy that you don't quite understand, I've been doing this for 15 years. I work for multiple companies. I can help you. You can visit my website right there at the bottom, aljohnsonlifeinsurance.com. Listen, that's all we got for you tonight. I know there's a whole lot more that we could bring. We always got more that we can talk about because, listen, we got like 2 professional speakers on here. We got a pastor and we have one of the most intellectual men that I know. And so, we've always got things to say, but tune in next week same time, same place, Monday night, Facebook or YouTube. You can also catch us Saturday on Roku or Amazon. Search Pod TV and look up Elevating Men. You can catch all of our content there. We appreciate you all tuning in.